Conference realignment has been one of the many big changes that we've seen in college football as of late. And there's more coming in the realignment game now that we're hearing even louder rumblings about what some ACC teams could be possibly doing, leaving their conference and going to the Big 12. As I said, we're going to talk with Pete Nakos from On3 about that in a bit. But I want to talk about two teams that are going to a new conference outside of the ACC and Big 12, and that's Texas and Oklahoma. And to be honest, once again, I am asking you guys and prominent sports media members in that space that are downplaying the situation that Oklahoma is in as they enter the SEC. Please stop. Just don't fall for the biggest trap that there is. Now, we're going to play a clip from a guy named Teddy Lehman, who I've got a ton of respect for and was an absolute baller at Oklahoma, was Defensive Player of the Year in the Big 12, won the national championship, played in the NFL. But he believes, outside of Alabama and Georgia, that every other team is really just churning through each other and that they don't really present that big of a threat. To quote, they really haven't done shit. Now, yes, there has been a lot of turnover with coaches in the SEC because the stakes are so high at pretty much every place. But once again, do not fall for the trap of the SEC is only top heavy. I've said this a zillion times and it still rings true. The hardest part about playing in the Southeastern Conference is not the one-off against Alabama or Georgia or whoever the best team may be at the time. It's the absolute meat grinder that you face outside of Vanderbilt, I'll give you that, pretty much each week. Every team that you're going to play has NFL players all over the roster. And if you're on the road, virtually every stadium is incredibly hostile and very tough to win at. It's truly a marathon, not a sprint. Now, Oklahoma should be confident. Their fans should be excited. After all, you're a huge brand with high standards, a great tradition, and high expectations. And I firmly believe that scared money don't make money, especially in this league. But I'm simply saying, do not get caught in the trap of being over arrogant, because this league has a way of humbling you very, very quickly. I'm going to bring in my co-host, former Michigan quarterback David Cohn, my brother, former Western State, Colorado wide receiver Blaine Crane. And guys, I want to play this clip to give some context to what I just said. All right, this is Teddy Lehman on the podcast they do. I think it's at OK Breakdown. Let's just play this clip.
Oklahoma has out-recruited everyone in the conference except for Georgia and Alabama, or been like right on the level with Texas and LSU. Do you know how many coaches in this conference have won an SEC championship?
One. Kirby.
Do you know how many coaches in this conference have been at their school longer than like 4 or 5 years? Kirby. And Stoops. That's it. Everything else is like constant turnover. Why is it constant turnover? Because they haven't done shit. So it's not like, oh, we got to come in and earn our stripes. Against teams that have accomplished jack squat, none of them have.
Okay. Again, Teddy Lehman, hell of a player, knows ball. I think he firmly believes this. Blaine, you think it was just clickbait. The facts that you laid out, yes, only one coach currently has won an SEC championship that's in there, and that's Kirby Smart. Nick Saban just left. And yes, Oklahoma's recruited at a very high level. Nobody is doubting that, right? Nobody's saying Oklahoma's some trash program that's just going to get bounced around like a ping pong ball when they get in the SEC. But coming in with the mindset of, oh, we don't have to earn our stripes or nobody else has done anything. Lane Kiffin's pretty solid at Ole Miss. They're better than they've ever been. Brian Kelly is going into year 3 at LSU, and they're going to be a problem. That defense is going to be better. Josh Heupel is pretty concreted in at Tennessee, and even though they got a new quarterback, they're pretty talented. You're going to see that the first couple weeks in Norman. And if you overlook Tennessee, they're going to walk into Norman and pull your pants down and laugh at you in front of everybody. So again, I'm not saying Oklahoma fans, David, should not be confident. They should be confident. You can't survive in this league if you're not confident. But this over-arrogance trap where you think, oh, it's just really 1 to 2 teams that are any good, You better hope that nobody in that building at Oklahoma believes that actually plays on the field. I know Brent Venables does, but with what he just said, what is your initial reaction? Because we have been saying the same thing and forever, and Oklahoma fans are like, oh, well, you're saying Oklahoma sucks. Nobody's saying Oklahoma's bad, but you are walking into a meat grinder, man.
Yeah. Well, don't forget also Hugh Freeze's prior success at Ole Miss with that list that you just listed off there. Been in the SEC longer than just his time at Auburn. But Teddy makes several statements that are factually correct, right? And he could have just made those facts and gotten the same point across, but the factual statements are sort of go out of the window when you wrap it in an underlying sentiment of most of the teams in the conference haven't done bleep, right?
Exactly.
So, and it is kind of funny too that in terms of the years that coaches have spent at schools, it's funny that, Oklahoma's had 3 different head coaches.
Venables hadn't been there 3 years.
Yeah. 3 coaches in 8 years. So, you could just flip that on the script for Oklahoma there. But I'll continue to say the same thing here. The SEC is very proud to bring in Texas and Oklahoma, as they should be, 2 blue blood, long-time blue blood college football programs. So the SEC can't take pride in bringing those programs into the conference, but then also say, well, they're just mid at best. They're not going to do anything
for sure
to get here. But then on the flip side of that, Oklahoma, and let's just go ahead and throw Texas into this too while we're at it, can't take pride in joining the Southeastern Conference, running from the Big 12 to the SEC to make more money, to be in what they perceive as a better football conference, but then also say, but the conference isn't any good and we're just going to run things right off the bat. Right? We're all excited to see what happens. It's going to be good for everyone for college football here.
Definitely. And we want to know what you think. Phone lines are going to open 2:45 p.m. Central, 1-855-236-3228. Blaine, it seems like, and this is why I love doing a sports show, and especially when we're able to focus on college football, because it seems like with this Texas and Oklahoma thing, and we're going to hear this all next week at SEC Media Days, it's either one extreme or the other. Either you have Texas and Oklahoma fans who are like, we're going to go in the league and dominate. The SEC is really not that tough. Whatever, we're fine. We're Texas, we're Oklahoma. Then you have SEC, which I disagree with that. I disagree that either team is going to go in and dominate, to be honest with you, consistently dominate, at least at the start. But then on the other side of that, you have SEC fans outside of Texas and Oklahoma that are like, oh, you guys are going to come in and just get smashed, and you're never going to do any good, and it's terrible. No, the answer is always somewhere in the middle. Texas and Oklahoma will be great additions to the conference. It's a great look for Texas and Oklahoma. You're going to have years where you have success. You're going to have years where you don't have success. But thinking that again, oh, well, we're just going to Kentucky. Or, oh, well, we're just going to A&M. Or, oh, well, we get Ole Miss at home this week. That is not a good way to go about it in this league. You are going to get chewed up and spit out and laughed at if you do that.
Yeah, I agree. I do think if you want attention, how do you get attention? Especially if you have a new show or something like that, what do? You talk shit about people in the SEC. That's what you do. The SEC, we're so prideful about our conference. Whatever you say, we're going to take offense to that 100%. But let's be honest. How many national championships has the SEC won since Oklahoma's won one?
Oh, God,
14.
Yeah.
14. And all
how many different
all
teams?
The teams that didn't do anything.
LSU,
Auburn,
Florida.
LSU.
Auburn.
Florida. So what
Bama,
he says
Georgia.
to me, is it facts? Some of it, for sure. But I don't think he really means that. I don't think you can walk into a Tennessee at Knoxville and say they haven't done anything. The Missouri, who technically hasn't done anything, go play them on a Saturday after you get done playing Georgia the week before. I know this is just, it's clickbait. That's all this is clickbait. He's trying to stir things up, and he's doing a great job.
See, I disagree. I think he is a former linebacker to Oklahoma, believes that Oklahoma is this big dog that is just going to come in. And you know what? That's fine if you believe that.
Big dog at what? What have y'all done?
Fan is short for fanatical. Now, again, that's why we try and keep it even keel, right, when it comes down to analysis. But I actually really think that Teddy Lehman believes that. And you know what? That's fine for Teddy Lehman to believe. Yeah. That's fine for Oklahoma fans to quote-unquote believe. But if anybody in that building, players, coaches, whoever has anything to do with that program, thinks that or hears that and says, you know what, that's true, it is going to go so south so quick. Let's go through Oklahoma's schedule real quick. I'm going to tell you, if you go into it with this mentality, here's what's going to happen. We can pull up Oklahoma's schedule.
I got it right now.
What do you got?
All right. Temple, week 1 at home.
Win.
Houston, week 2 at home.
Win.
Tulane at home.
Win.
Tennessee at home.
Go in there thinking Tennessee hadn't done anything.
At
I
Auburn.
didn't hear Tennessee come out of his mouth. They'll beat you at your own place.
At Auburn.
You're probably going to lose that game.
Texas at home.
Well,
Red River
neutral
Rapids.
site.
Excuse me.
I don't know. The way Oklahoma plays against Texas, they may beat them.
South Carolina at home.
You'll beat South Carolina.
At Ole Miss.
You're going to lose that.
I believe
Maine.
Maine at
You're
home.
going to win that one. Shout out to the Black Bears.
You go to Missouri.
You're going to lose that.
Alabama at home.
You're going to lose that.
At LSU.
I don't know. Dog, I'm telling you right, if you go into it with that mindset, y'all going 5-7. Y'all going 5-7. But I don't think Brent Venables will have Oklahoma with that mindset.
That's not
There's
the
no
mindset
way.
that's going on in Oklahoma's.
And Sark knows at Texas,
Yeah.
too. If anybody
Yeah.
knows, it's Sark. So, again, we love Oklahoma. We love Oklahoma. We love Texas here. We try and ELE. Everybody love everybody. Let's analyze everybody equally. But, I'm trying to
This is how you want them to take it, though, right? The SEC wouldn't want to bring any programs in who don't have this.
No,
mindset,
you're as
right?
crazy as us.
Who's the SEC going to bring in who would say, yeah, man, we're going to be middle of the pack, but we're proud of that?
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
exactly right.
Another thing to consider here is we're with an expanded playoff now, 12 teams, what could possibly go to 16 teams at some point, is we could see teams still have national success without dominating the conference. We haven't really seen that before. I mean, we have seen situations now with a 14 playoff where an Alabama can lose the SEC championship, still get in and win the Natty. We've seen that, right? Even the Buckeyes a couple years ago lost the Big Ten to Michigan, but they played Georgia on the ropes, almost played in a conference title. But still, those teams were in the conference championship. We could see situations now where maybe Oklahoma and Texas don't win the SEC, but could still make a playoff and make a deep run for a national championship. That's where things are going to get weird, because if you want a national championship, you have bragging rights, but possibly not even play in your conference championship.
That's what blows my mind. How can you say no one else has done anything when 3 other teams have won a national championship?
Well, yeah, not only that, but then if your argument is, hey, we're so similar to every other team because which coach has been there for 40 years or 5 years? Which coach is anywhere for 4 years or 5 years nowadays when you really look at it? But you can't sit there and say Brian Kelly's not cemented in at LSU. You might as well add him to the tenured coaches in the SEC. You can't sit there and say Josh Heupel isn't cemented in at Tennessee, or Lane Kiffin isn't cemented in at Ole Miss, or Eli Drinkowitz isn't cemented in at Missouri. That is such a narrow way to look at it, and that's not going to save you. But if you're going just off the factual things that you brought up, yes, Oklahoma recruits at a really high level. Hell, it's Oklahoma, right? Oklahoma should come in and be able to compete. Nobody's doubting that. But that narrow view of, it's the top 2 teams and everybody else is really just trash. They're not very good. That's good. That is going to lead to disaster if one person inside that facility at Oklahoma thinks that.
I agree.
Or Texas in general. Hey, what's up, YouTube? Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn that notification bell on, and like the video. We really, really appreciate it.